Hi, this is Sarah Hearn with PositivelyGospel.com, and I'm here with DK, the lead for the Gospel Go-Go band, Body of Evidence.
Yes, ma'am.
So, how are you today, DK?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. God is good.
So tell me, how did you come up with the name Body of Evidence?
Interesting question. I had a young man by the name of Jeffrey Davis who died last year, and he was one of the young men that I helped raise up. He was like a little brother of mine, and he felt led to tell me that I should make a new band. And he told me this maybe almost over 5 years ago. He said, we should start a new band, Kurt. And I'm like, what? What band is that? He said, let's call it Body of Evidence. I said, so what's the vision for it? He said, well, I wanted to make it a worship and go-go kind of band with a mixture. I said, nice. So we did that. And I created it not knowing he was going to pass away last year.
Wow, that's such an interesting and tragic story.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a pastor,
Yes,
teacher,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
and of course you lead the band. And I know that from your past history you've been involved in a gang. So what kind of message do you want to send to young people who may be enduring struggles similar to some that you may have encountered? What kind of encouragement can you give to them?
The encouragement I can give to young people is that all struggle is created by God to make us a better person, to help us reach others who struggle the same way or have struggled the same way. And to know that there is life after death and you will be rewarded for the things that you were looking for in life. You don't have to get it through drugs, you don't have to get it through illegal means, but God will bless you with everything that you can think of when you cross over and you see Him. But right now, just know that God is real, and if you serve Him with all your struggles, He'll bless you.
That's powerful. That's very powerful. So we're here today at Harvest Jam. Lots of young people
Yes,
out
it
there.
is.
They're coming
Yes,
in
it
the
is.
droves. Their families are there as well. What can they expect from you today? How are you going to rock it out today?
Oh, you already know, worship and go-go.
Worship and go-go.
Worship and go-go.
So I'm going to ask you a little bit of a controversial question.
Sure.
Kind of slips into the go-go / hip-hop realm.
I understand.
There's a lot of discussion now about Christian artists mixing and mingling in their music with secular art. What's your take on that?
Basically, the Bible mentions that the gospel has to be preached in all the world. So that means God will, because God is who He is, He's God. He can metamorph into any shape, form, or fashion. So if He has to shape Himself as a person that mixed with a secular artist, He has to do that to get the gospel across. Because those secular artists have following. So if you put that secular artist on your track, that following is going to listen. And those are people who don't have Jesus yet. You know what I'm saying? So if you put God with that, they'll be able to hear the word of God. That's what I have to say about that.
So you think it's a good strategic move for
Yes,
the kingdom?
it is. Definitely.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share today. How can people get in touch with you and follow your music?
Just follow me at demonkiller.com. So that's DEMONKILLA.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the interview. This is Sarah Hearn, PositivelyGospel.com, here at Harvest Jam 2017.
Amen.
Yes, my hallelujah belongs to you. Yeah, oh Lord, my hallelujah belongs to you. So, look, you deserve it. Hey, you deserve it. See, you
positivelygospel.com. And I'm here with Uncle Reese, who just finished performing at Harvest Jam 2017. So, how are you today? How was the energy out
great.
there?
The energy was amazing. Man, listen, Harvest Jam 17, it was amazing. Canton Jones, Bizzle, Echelon Knox, a lot of great artists here. I was honored to share the stage with them and honored to be on this show with you.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, you know, for a time there, hip-hop was more grassroots. You were getting all your play, but now we're hearing you on the radio. Why do you think that's changed?
I just think, I think people in my position were getting a little bit more educated about the industry. You have some great managers who are they're honestly like trailblazers. Like you got Showtime, you got Echelon Knox, you got Bizzle, you got K-Joe, myself. I think we're putting out quality music, and I just think, it's time for what we're doing. And I just think we're learning a little bit more about the business and just learning how to make deals better. So I think that's why you're hearing us on the radio a little bit more.
Well, and it's a very good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm enjoying it. So what's next for you?
Honestly, I'm always just loving God more and more every day. So for me, I'm just trying to grow my relationship with God, trying to just be a better husband, trying to have some kids, trying to just be a good man and just a good man of God. And so I think out of that is where my music is birthed. Like I told the people on stage, most of my music I make from my relationship with God. Songs like He Died and He Rose. I read that I made that while I was on the fast, reading the book of Luke. So a lot of my songs just kind of stem and come directly out of my relationship with God. It's almost like when I seek God, music is kind of like a byproduct of that. So when I focus on that, everything else just kind of falls into place.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yes, ma'am.
Very powerful. Thank you so much for talking to me today. This is Sarah Hearn, positivelygospel.com with Uncle Reese. This is Sarah Hearn with positivelygospel.com, and I'm here with Clifton Ross, very popular singer. Actually, he was one of the most popular singers on Sunday Best, and actually got to be part of the Sunday Best All-Stars. He's been doing quite a bit, and we're going to hear a lot from him today. He just finished a wonderful performance of his new single, I Believe God, at Harvest Jam. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that single?
Well, I believe that life happens, and we have to figure out how to respond. And God blessed me with this tool, and I use it, and I felt like it could be beneficial for other people as well. And that was just the phrase, I believe God. And it's so strong, and it's so powerful. When you can believe in yourself and you can believe in God's assignment for you, you can get through any valley, any mountain, any situation that's put your way.
So, belief in God, that's one of the tenets of our faith. So can you tell me about a time when you had to trust in belief in God in your life?
Definitely. I journeyed through graduating from Howard University, and it wasn't easy. And actually, this is when this song was birthed to me, because I went through some low moments where I didn't feel like I could finish. I stopped believing in myself, and literally all I heard was, I believe God. I believe God. Literally, this is how the song was birthed. And I would say it in the mirror before I went out. I would say it before I got out of the bed when I did not want to get out of the bed. And before I knew it, I crossed the finish line and got my degree. And I said, God, you got me through this. I'll never doubt you again.
So tell me about the rest of the EP.
Well, all of these songs are songs of faith. These are songs that just are encouragement to wherever you are. The first one is Shout Aloud. Just once you get your victory, give him some praise, And then I'll Wait. I'll Wait is the second track, and a lot of times as we journey through, we have to wait on the promises of God. Everything doesn't happen overnight, and you have to figure out your posture. And I figured out that the posture of peace is the best way to journey through as you're waiting on God to fulfill His promises. And of course, I Believe God, the single, which I just talked about, and number 4.
My favorite.
He never changed his mind. So many times as we journey through the life path, we give up. Like I told you, I felt like giving up. But, God sends simple reminders. It could be the wind blowing, or, you see a sign, or somebody tap you, and it registers with your spirit that God's will for you never changes. We change our mind about certain things, or we give up. But, the path is there. Get on the boat and keep going.
Amen. That's very good news. Now, you have so many accolades, and I know for us in the DMV, we also remember that you were the Howard Gospel Choir Director
Yes.
at one time.
Yes.
You know, you racked up quite a bit, but I understand that you recently won another award. Tell me about that.
Yes, I was at the Voices of Gospel Awards in Alabama, and I won Male Artist of the Year. It's my first award ever. I was so excited.
Well, that is just fantastic news. I'm sure it's one in a list of many to come. Now, this Harvest Jam, of course, is geared toward young people, and you went through the college experience, and of course, you went through the high school experience. What kind of advice would you offer from a spiritual bent for young people today?
Well, I would say figure out who you are. Fall in love with who you are. Tap into God's plan for you and God's will for you, and feel His love. Because the more, I believe that the more that you love yourself, the more that you love God within you. And with that type of power, you can get through anything. And I believe that in this generation, we need more types of examples, and kids need that type of empowerment and that type of love. So love yourself, people.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So tell me, how can we get this CD?
You can go on CliftonRossIII.com. You can get a hard copy, and I'll be so excited to get to send it to you. It's also available on all digital music outlets. So that's Apple Music, Google Play, Tidal, you name it, it's there.
Okay, so it's everywhere. You know, thank you so much for talking with me. This is Sarah Hearn, PositivelyGospel.com. Follow me on PositivelyGospel.com and get the CD. I Believe God, Clifton Ross. The third. Hi, this is Sarah Hearn at PositivelyGospel.com, and I'm here at Harvest Jam 2017 with the famed Howard Gospel Choir, at least part of the famed Howard Gospel Choir, and they are twice Stellar nominated for their CD, Glorious God. So, Reggie Golden, the director,
Yes, ma'am.
tell me a little bit about that CD.
This is a CD that we released last year that we thought was important to create because the choir hadn't released a formal album in 20 years. And so we thought it was important for the world to be able to hear what was going on in the Andrew Lincoln Memorial Chapel on Mondays and Thursdays from 7:30 to 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And so this is Glorious God, and this is the result of that labor, of that effort.
Well, you know, I was at your live recording, and I was also at the CD release.
Yes, ma'am.
And this song, this album came out last year, but it's still resonating with people. Why do you think that is?
I think because the message is true. You know, I was just grateful that we're speaking about the song Glorious God, and the theme of Glorious God was one that I just I'm sorry. I think it resonates with people because it's a story that everybody knows. Everybody knows what it's like to have a lack somewhere. Everybody knows what it's like to need something, and everybody knows what it's like. And the believers know what it's like when we can put our hope and our trust in God, who we know will come through for us. And so every once in a while, we just need to be reminded of those things that we already know, just like a refresher course, kind of like professional development, just a reminder, hey, every situation is under God's control. Hey, everything in heaven and on earth is yours. Hey, you know, God is the only one who can shower down His blessings and His power and His glory. And it's that glory that we need in order to be able to make it through whatever it is that we're going through. So
That's understandable. Well, let me ask you this, because now you're a graduate student and you work with these fine young people, and eventually you are going to graduate. So
Yes,
where
ma'am.
do you see yourself in choirs? Because of course you're directing a famed choir that's went through a lot, that was actually groundbreaking. Do you see choir in your life after Howard University?
definitely in some way. Definitely in some way. I'm not exactly sure. It's interesting. Before I started directing the Howard Gospel Choir, most of my work was with smaller groups. But something happened. You know, I got here and the Lord just, you know, made it stick. You know, so I don't know. I have no idea. I know definitely that music is definitely still going to be a part. So even with an independent group that I've been working with, a group of singers that I'm working with for different projects, different places, doing a lot of the same stuff, but just with a lot of different people, you know. But the Howard Gospel Choir is going to have a 50th anniversary. Well, that'll be next year. But after that, we'll have a 60th anniversary and the 75th anniversary, so I'll definitely be back for those. So at the very least, I know that the Howard Gospel Choir is still going to be in my future.
I love it, I love it. And finally, I want to say that the Howard Gospel Choir, yes, is famed, but it's also famed because it wasn't actually well received initially, because
Yes, ma'am.
folks like the famed Richard Smallwood, they staged a sit-in just to get gospel music as a part of that. Where do you see gospel choirs headed now? Do you see it being more I won't say more accepted, but more prevalent, because there was a time, most recently, when choirs were not the thing, and they were going more for individual and small groups. Where do you see choirs going?
I heard someone say that the gospel choir is never going to die just because it's such a staple in our music. And so even when you don't have gospel choirs, you have group background singers in groups of 3 and 6 that are trying to recreate the gospel choir sound. So I don't think that we're ever going to get to the point, I don't think the black church is ever going to get to a point where we are so far removed from the sound of a choir that we don't need to have any examples anymore. You know, so I'm so grateful that Ricky Diller's CD is out now. You know, he's still showing everybody everywhere how to do it. You know, and we're in the DMV, and so we're so lucky to have so many different great examples of what great gospel choirs should do. I mean, as long as people are making great music, which they've been doing from the beginning of the time, I don't think we're gonna run out. You know, the format may be different. You know, where you see them, more community groups may come up, because a lot of choirs, a lot of churches are starting, well, not a lot of churches, but some churches don't have, you know, traditional choirs anymore. So there might be a resurgence of community choirs, which would be great, you know, for all of us over at the Thomas Dorsey Convention. So if you got a community choir that wants to join, come on.
Shameless plug.
Listen, you know, but we're not going nowhere. The choir's not going anywhere.
So where to now with the choir? Where are you touring now?
Well, we are going out of town actually next weekend. Next weekend we'll be along the East Coast, and then we'll be back in a different sector of the East Coast in November. And we're getting prepared for our annual spring break tour, so that is one of the highlights of the school year every year. And just wherever we get the call, you know, if they come call us, we love what it is that we do, and we love to sing about God and His music. So call us, and what's next will be whatever you call us for.
Okay, and we love hearing you all. So this is Sarah Herman, Positively Gospel, with Reggie Golden and some of the fan-powered gospel choir. Get their CD, Glorious God.